take place behind closed doors with no spectators. Seiko Hashimoto said the games would be a success only if they protected athletes and Japanese people from the coronavirus. A final decision is expected in June. World news from the BBC. Reports from Russia say a lawyer for the jailed Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny has been detained by the security forces. Colleagues of Ivan Pavlov say his hotel room was raided and he was arrested. He's defending Mr. Navalny's anti-corruption foundation in a lawsuit that seeks to ban it as an extremist organisation. One of Mr. Pavlov's clients, a former Russian journalist charged with treason, has been remanded in custody until July. Ivan Safronov has called the case against him Kafkaesque, as he was not initially told what he was accused of. Prosecutors have since said he spied for the Czech Republic. He says he merely wrote analytical articles for a Czech news agency. The South African president has offered his condolences to the royal family and the Zulu nation following the death of its monarch, Queen Shiye Mantombi Dlamini Zulu, at the age of 65. Cyril Ramaphosa said the country's thoughts, prayers and hearts were with the royal family in what he called this hour of compounded grief. Nomsa Maseko reports from Johannesburg.
Traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, said that whilst the Queen's death has taken them by surprise, there'd be no leadership vacuum. Queen Mantfombi Dlamini's death comes just weeks after her husband succumbed to COVID-19. The 65-year-old became regent last month. A successor was expected to be named at the end of June, after the 3-month mourning period of the royal house ends. The Queen's eldest son, Prince Misizulu Zwelithini, is the favourite to take the throne.
The French Prime Minister Jean Castex has paid tribute to Stéphanie Montfermé, a policewoman stabbed to death by a militant Islamist in a Paris suburb a week ago. At a national ceremony, Mr. Castex refused to utter the name of the Tunisian attacker. BBC News.
天天在一起，天天用心听，听见台北的声音。FM 93.1，幸福永远属于你。
公民总主笔，
方恩格时间。
谁当家？
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 你当家？
谁当家？谁当家？
谁当家？
谁当家？我当家。你当家？我当家。
我当家。
到底谁当家？你来当家。
Welcome to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station. I'm your host, Ross Darrell Feingold. Today, our very special guest is someone who I think a lot of our listeners are going to be familiar with already, or maybe in the near future, because his name is all over town on the restaurants. It's Mayur from Mayur Indian Kitchen. Mayur, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend, for bringing me here. Namaste, everyone.
Now, before we talk in detail about the restaurants, which are great, I have to say, because I've been there myself many times, tell us a little bit about yourself and even your life before you came to Taiwan. Which part of India did you grow up?
I grew in Delhi, and yeah.
So you're a city boy.
Yeah, kind of. I think I lived in my grandma's home for a very long time, and I love villages in India, of course. But yeah, I grew in Delhi and many different parts of India and other cities as well. And from there, I went to so many small rural places where I came to know more about our roots and culture, and that's how the things happen when I first went to the school to learn about the Indian cuisine and the spices and so many other things.
So did you learn about cooking from school or did you learn it from your grandma or some other family members?
Honestly speaking, my mom used to be sick when I was just 5 years old, and she was a diabetic, and most of the time she was in the hospital. So my grandma and my mom also, of course, they taught me cooking, and I learned from them how to cook by myself, and also for help my father and my younger brothers to had their breakfast before we went to school. And after that, when we came back, sometime if mom was not there, so we understand that we always we are like family where we need to help each other, and that's how the idea of, like cooking for the family, for ourselves, and sharing meal and, sharing happiness. That's how they come from.
Some cultures, it's more common for women to do the cooking. That's just the reality of history. But correct me if I'm wrong, but in Indian culture, it's common that men do the cooking.
It's not common in Indian culture that men do the cooking, but as I said, that it all depends on your family values. My mom and me and my father, just like any other family, you're so well connected, and we know that our mom was sick, so we had to take initiative to do some cooking and help her, also not to feel that she was there just for cooking, which was not. She was a teacher, and she had a very good job. But her because of her medical issues, she was not available at some time. So we understood that we have to help her and also help ourselves. And that's from there I learned to have a good meal and cook good food. Because two of my younger brothers and my father was also we all love our curries and the basic Indian food. And that's how the idea came of kept cooking in house and tried new dishes and learn more things.
What was your dream job when you were growing up? Did you want to be, because now you're a restaurateur, but it's a little unusual for children to say, when I grow up I want to be a restaurateur. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Honestly speaking, I always wanted to go to the Indian Navy. Because I used to see some TV shows, and there were not many, but I was so impressed when the merchant navy or the navy marines, we had white color sparkling uniform, and they have a nice cap.
So instead you became a chef with a white uniform.
Coincidentally, yeah. So when I finished my school and I first went to give the exam for Navy, then I came to know I supposed to have physics and chemistry. If I finish my senior high school with those two subjects, then only I can apply for being into a Navy. But my second best interest was cuisine and the cooking, so I chose the cuisine and went to this cooking school, and I spent almost 4 years just to learn about the basics of the cuisine, not only the Indian, but also I did bakery, confectionery, how to make cakes, and of course the Indian things.
So a lot of us have a stereotype of cooking school, and it's often based around those famous cooking schools in Paris or London. What's cooking school in India like?
Honestly speaking, in my time, there were not many private schools, and also I came from a very, you can say, below average family. So my father didn't have enough money to pay for such prestigious and expensive schools. So I went to the government one, which was completely subsidized by the government, and I learned the basic cooking skill, and of course there is a science behind all the food, whichever we cook, and the ingredients. So I spent 3 years on a government quota, and I got subsidy from the government, and that's one of the reason that because the teachers there are well motivated, they are paid by the government, and almost everything by the government. So I learned many new things there, and I think that was the most concrete thing being as a chef, that I learned those science behind the food, and then of course the passion of learning cooking. And my house condition was also like that I had to cook sometimes, and it all changed into my passion later on. Not just you have to cook for some reason, but I thought if I have an opportunity and I also have interest, why don't make this as my career? Yeah.
Tell us something about the science. You mentioned the science. They taught you a little bit about the science. Those of us who don't know much about how to cook Indian food, we just love to eat it. What's something scientific that those of us who are not experts like you would find surprising? Share us something scientific about Indian cooking.
Sure. Many people think that, if you use, I'm not saying generally not only the Indian, but many people, they do not know that the spices not comes from Carrefour or Welcome or any private company, but it comes from plants. It comes from after the cultivation of when the farmers or the people who are growing up those plants, it's coming out from there, and then there is a lot of practices needed to grow up, take care of those things, and then there were a lot of pesticides and other things when they were using it, how we have to bring it out to our kitchen, and then how we blend it, and what are the recipes. For example, if I'll just say simply think that if you just pick up the green cardamom or cumin seed or coriander seed, it's not that if you just put that inside the food, that your food is going to be tasty. There is a certain there is certain recipe. Just like when we are sick, we go to a doctor, right? And the doctor prescribes some generic medicine. Then you should take this and that, and you'll be fine. Simply, it is just like all these spices, all these powders has character. When we learned how to play with them and we know what are the nutritional value behind them, we use it in our cuisine, and it also gives them a satiety value in their meal, also good health. And yeah, the taste is of course matters. So that's the thing which I think was very important for me to learn, that how we give a tasty food to people, also while taking care of their health, the health benefits of that.
I thought you were going to tell us something like, when you cook the dal, it needs to be a very precise temperature, and 1 degree too hot or too cold, it won't come out right, or you have to bake the naan a certain number of minutes, and too long or too short, it won't taste right.
Honestly speaking, this thing happen in movies, but if you talk about the Indian cuisine, in Indian cuisine, you always have certain ways you can cook your dal, or you can cook your bread, you can burn your bread, or you can undercook it. But there are always space in Indian cuisine to improve your things better. And there are so many groups on internet where people talk about, oh, my dal has got more salt, how should I deal with it? Or my bread is harder, so how should I deal with it? So there are no certain recipes. Yeah, there are some traditional methods for cooking. For example, you're cooking your dal, so that has to be yellow lentils or maybe tur dal, and then you have chilies, you have cumin, you have coriander seed, and you have... It is all up to you what kind of taste, but yeah, there are some traditional ways of doing it. In Indian cuisine, there is always a way, there is always a space where you can make your things better. So this is, I wouldn't say that you must cook your dal at least for this much minute or this cannot. It all depends on your tongue. It's on your, like how you want to eat your food. Yeah.
Where else did you travel to before you came to Taiwan and decided to settle here? Which other parts of the world did you see?
I've been to many places, many countries before, and I tried, as I said, like I came from a below average family. So I went to, of course, in India, like people are so fascinated about Dubai because there is a lot of money. So I went to Dubai as well. Then I went to many other countries in the Middle East. I went to Sharjah, Kuwait, Oman, and then I went to Hong Kong, I went to Singapore, I went to, I think, Vietnam, and then Thailand. In Bangkok, I tried many places. Yeah. And in southern part of India, it's just like if someone I was from New Delhi and I went to Chennai. So for me, Chennai was just like any other country, because the cuisine is very different what we used to eat before. And there were no breads at all. The staple food was rice, and people were speaking different language, Tamil. And from there, I found like I'm in a different world. So then I went to another place in India, and I found that each state of our country is actually a country itself. And it's so beautiful that when we go there and we tell, oh yeah, okay, I'm from this state, and okay, you are from that state. And then we learn the cuisine and the language and the color, the festival, everything is beautiful. Yeah.
And yet you decided to settle in Taiwan. You came to Taiwan in 2007. What was your first impression when you came to Taiwan the first time?
When I came first Taiwan, I feel like, wow, because I didn't eat for almost like 2 days. And because whatever came to me, I was so sorry. Whenever it came to me, I was like, I found a bit kind of smell of some oil, or maybe, I don't know what it was, but it was not acceptable for me. That even though I tried some vegetable noodles or something, yeah, it was all good, but I just thought like my tongue or my palate is not accepting that thing. And it took me 2 days, at least 48 hours to settle down, and like I'm gonna eat everything and I'm gonna cook. And then that was the first impression of Taiwan onto me, because I think second night I went to a night market, and whatever they were cooking, like like deep fried chicken, or because chicken in India is just like a premium kind of thing which is not available on a street. Then there were like cho tofu, which was like completely blown my mind. So it was a very different thing for me.
Did you try it?
Not in the first time. The first time when I tried the cho tofu, I think I got sick for a day, something like that. And it was really like, it blown away my mind, like what kind of dish is it and why the flavors are so strong and smelly, and then as I said, that I always believe that there is a science behind the food. It doesn't matter is it Indian cuisine or any kind of cuisine. So then I went into that and I understood that how actually they cook it and why it is so smelly and why people still like it. And then the taste of cho tofu or the taste of mapo tofu, the taste of deep fried chicken and everything developed on my tongue. And yeah, that's how I started, I think, learning about Taiwan.
What inspired you, though, to stay in Taiwan? I mean, did you think about going back home to India? India economy rapidly growing, lots of opportunity to open restaurants, a lot of tourists coming to India, business people, Goa, the resorts are growing, people like to go there for the seaside. Did you think about going back to India to build your career? Or you knew you wanted to be outside of India?
Yes, just like I was traveling around different countries, I came up with the idea that I'm going to stay here for maybe a year or 2 year job contract. I'm going to go back somewhere else, maybe Canada or US or maybe back to India. But I was here just to make some money and move to the next country. I would say not just unfortunately, I think fortunately, and I still feel that decision of mine was very good, that I made up my mind to stay here. And there were many reasons. The first reason was the friendliness of Taiwanese people. I went to many countries. I never found such people where if you couldn't find an address and they literally ask you to sit up on their back of their scooter, or they help you to reach to that place. And if you don't have a change of money or you're looking for, I still remember that I was at one of the 7-Eleven and I didn't have a change. There was another person who, because I was not able to speak Chinese or not to explain myself, so that person was able to understand and he helped me out of the box to take me somewhere. And then many different such kind of small incident. Once I remember I lost my phone in a bus and I got it back from the police like after 2 days. One time I literally left my bike on a street which had a key inside, and then there were many incidents in those 2 years. And then my wife, who was my girlfriend at that time, she was also one of the big reason that I thought like this country is perfect to stay here, and has opportunity, has a clean system, has those things which we as an Indian or a foreigner requires to grow up ourselves, in this society. Yeah.
What kind of feedback did you get when you told friends and family that you were thinking of opening a food business here in Taipei?
They thought it was like because now people know Mayur Indian, kitchen is going good, and this, very less people know that my first attempt was very bad and I closed down within 2 months. I started all this from a small night market, and it was my decision to sell some kind of deep fried bread with a kind of dish, because I came up from a 5-star hotel. So I made the food just like that, and I start selling at that price in a night market. And people did not expect someone to sell at that expensive, like $200 dish, $80 dish into a night market. And I had to wrap it up like within 2 months. And then I remember I went all the points one by one, that what went wrong or what were the mistakes, etc. And again, I made up my mind that no, I'm not going to give up here, and I'm going to give it another try. And then I bring the tandoori oven here and made the breads, which were exactly in the price range of what people used to sell at that time in the night market. And also people loved it and they enjoyed it, and that's how it went through from a small stall into a shilling night market to the Mayur Indian kitchen till now.
What were some of the other challenges to make that vision come true? For example, was it difficult to find suppliers of the ingredients? You mentioned earlier in the program about the science of the spices. Yes. And a lot of expertise goes into getting the right spices so that the food tastes the way the chef wants it to. Did you have challenges like that, finding the supplies, for example?
Very big challenges. I would say I still have those challenges here with me, and also I think many of the people who import things here in Taiwan, they find those challenges there. I even though I am living here in Taiwan and I call myself half Taiwanese and half Indian here, and I love this country, just like I think my friends and my family, the people who knows me, who follows me, they know that how much I love this country. But of course, there is always a space. There is always a gap which has a chance of improvement. So Taiwan still does not have many ingredients, many things which we should have it here. I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm just saying that we should open up more here and let those products, let those people, let those talent, let those skill come inside this country. And here things could be better. For example, like we were not able to find those spices or those things at that time, and we are still not able to find many of those things. Yeah, things has been improved. There is no doubt that things have been improved in the last 1 decade, but it's so slow that if this pace we are going here and we could not find those things, it will be, I think, very difficult for everyone to be staying here and not to look for any other country for their, chances.
My understanding is the authorities, especially the Food and Drug Administration, they could be very particular about spices being imported. They do a lot of inspection of spices. Do you ever have challenges like that?
Yeah. I think before I used to find those things which were really not available anywhere in Taiwan, and then I saw there were some people who were importing. Then when I spoke to them, they told me about their problems, and I thought in the beginning maybe they were just misguiding to me, and I started importing a lot of things by myself. And as a chef, I understand that which things are the very good quality or what are their characteristics and etc. But I found that there were many loopholes to understand those products, and when we were importing those things, the whole process of ordering those things to stick a Chinese sticker on those products and to bring it to the port, and then bring it to the Taiwan port, and then from there bring it to us at the door, it costs so much time and so much money and so much effort that someone just give it up, and they just think like maybe we are not the right person or the right company, or the this is not the correct way, or maybe just people give it up. I think by going hand in hand with the food and like FDA and other departments, if they come up with the idea where foreigners can understand more about things into English, or it could happen with many ways, by doing classes, by doing online data or etc. I think the government is already doing well, but if they or any department, I cannot say who or which department, but there is of course a space where they have to work and improve it, so people like us can get those things more easily in Taiwan, and we can tell the whole world that we have everything in Taiwan available. Yeah.
Have you thought of sending them some free lunches?
Yeah, for sure.
What was the initial reaction, though, from the customers when you opened the restaurants? Because there had been some Indian restaurants in Taipei for many years. Not a lot of restaurants, but there were few. You weren't the first. Right. So when customers came to your first or the second restaurant, what kind of feedback did you get?
My first restaurant was on the pavement of Keelung Road, and it was not even a restaurant. What we used to call that kind of place in India is called dhaba. Dhaba is just like a street vendor where you are selling a food, and people they buy it and they sit outside and they have it. So usually when I went to many shops like that, what I see is people usually cook outside on the pavement, and they give a nice covered air-conditioned box to the people to sit inside and have the meal. I did the completely opposite. I took the space inside because for the hygiene matter that I have to cook inside, which is a covered area, and I gave open payment to the people to sit outside and had the meal. The first, I remember a few of my friends from China Post and other those media houses, they came and they said, why don't you just buy a nice air-conditioned place or something. I said, I didn't have that much money. And that was the reaction of the people that, of course, we believe that your food is good, but you have to do something with your settings of sitting. And then second was, people thought it's too spicy, it was too salty, it was too oily. So it took me and people like me to let people understand that not all the food from India is spicy, not all is salty, not all is oily. It's all depends upon what kind of dish you are looking for, because there are few dishes which are traditionally we have to cook in that way. But once we come to know if someone is vegan, okay, there should be no butter or ghee. If someone is a small kid, of course we cannot serve them with spicy food. If someone is pregnant woman, so we should not serve them saffron. So it's just like that.
So you're willing to make some adjustments to the menu, but not big adjustments.
No,
you want to stick to the true the true
exactly.
Great. Well, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the menus and cuisine from India. You're listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station.
如有长照服务需求、长照特别扣除额问题，请拨打1966长照专线，5分钟内通话免付费。一通电话让长期照顾管理专员协助申请长期照顾服务及解答长期照顾特别扣除额相关问题。以上内容由台北市政府卫生局提供。
爸爸应酬不开车，黄色嘟嘟安全多。应酬喝酒不过量，安全回家最上道。爸爸要平安回家哦。
喝酒不开车，开车不喝酒哦。让我们一起尊重生命，拥抱亲情。
亲爱的朋友，您还在吸烟吗？快拿着健保卡到戒烟门诊，或拨打戒烟专线0800636363。提醒您，最近兴起的电子烟、加热烟，因为没有浓浓的烟臭味，就被认为无害。其实已经证实，新兴烟品都有二手烟及三手烟的危害，甚至还有爆炸的风险。我是义工蔡依林，所有烟品都 get out。我拒烟，我骄傲。
大家好，我是疾管署防疫医师林永清。国际疫情严峻，自国外入境后，请落实居家检疫。1. 检疫期间不可外出。2. 每天记录身体状况，如果不适，请联系卫生局，不可自行就医。3. 家中若有65岁以上长者、6岁以下幼童、慢性病患者或没有个人专用房间及卫浴者，入境后需入住防疫旅宿。违反居家检疫规范，最高可罚款100万元，千万不要以身试法。
有政府，请安心。资讯由疾管署提供。
家己电台家己主持咧。大家好，我是郭文哲，我伫台北广播电台。
谁当家？
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 你当家？
谁当家？
谁当家？谁当家？
谁当家？我当家。你当家？我当家。
我当家。
到底谁当家？你来当家。
Welcome back to Residence Messenger. Our guest today is Mayur from Mayur Indian Kitchen. Before the break, Mayur, you were talking a little bit about the menus. Your restaurants around Taipei and Taiwan have different themes.
Yes.
What are some of those different themes, and are some of those themes related to cuisine of different parts of India?
Yes, exactly. Because we all know that India is a huge country with so many different states. So this was my idea that whenever we open, in the beginning, I did not actually think that much that I'm going to open so many of restaurants. But when the people gave us appreciation and they motivated us further, and then this idea came up that the first location which I opened, it was very simple home style cuisine. And then the second one which we opened, we went to the more close to the fine dine, where people have with a business kind of meeting, or people who want to treat their clients into the more luxurious way of Indian dining. They can go there. The third location is completely vegetarian food, where we are selling the southern part of India, which is Tamil Nadu. The food from there we are selling there, which is completely vegetarian, and also a lot of vegan options are there. After that, we had another location which we changed into a buffet restaurant. The fifth one was it was a completely family restaurant where the people can sit down with the whole family, kids or old people, women, everyone can enjoy the meal. We set up the menu like that. The next one was, the sixth location was more like a shisha bar, where people could have nighttime. They can go until late, very late, until midnight. They could have those Indian food, and also with drinks and etc. Then with the seventh location, I thought like it's already many restaurants there, in many Indian restaurants, and also the Mayur kitchens were there. So we went to Chubei, because there were already a lot of Indian food in Sinchu. So we went to Chubei, we were close to Sinchu. Then we went to Taichung. So each MIK we tried to give more and more variety of Indian food, also with a different ambience, price, and a touch of like east, west, south, or north kind of Indian cuisine.
I'm going to ask you a difficult question. What's your favorite regional cuisine of India?
To honestly speaking, like many people have asked me this question, I still love the southern part of Southern Indian cuisine, more like dosa or idli sambar or coconut chutney, which is fresh flavorful, and there is no ghee, there is no butter, which is very light, and also it has a lot of flavors. So of course I love all Indian food, but that's the South Indian part of that cuisine which I like most.
And what about the Taiwan customer? Have you noticed a preference for a different regional cuisine, keeping in mind that a lot of the consumers, diners here in Taiwan, are not going to be familiar with the regional differences? They come to your restaurants, they think it's all Indian food.
Yeah.
But have you noticed, as far as what they order, that Taiwanese seem to prefer a specific regional cuisine?
I think if you talk about those Taiwanese people, which they never tried Indian food before, they still love those barbecue meats and tandoori chickens and breads and curries. But those people who have been to US, UK, Canada, and India, of course, now many Taiwanese people are going India as well. Many student exchanges between India and Taiwan, many company exchanges. So when these people are coming back, they're trying all kind of Indian cuisine. You wouldn't believe that we have one branch which sell Indian sweets, which is itself is very sweet. And we all know that Taiwanese people, or even foreigners, experts, they don't like much sweets except ice cream, right? So people are trying everything, and when they come back, they look for those dishes. Oh, I tried this in UK, or I tried this in Canada or in India. So when they came back and they search online whether we have these things in Taiwan, and then we say, okay, we offer you these things here, which is of the best ingredients, and you can, especially in a vegan Indian cuisine where we do a lot of dals, we do a lot of vegetables with different kind of breads, with different kind of like there are a combination of these lentils and these dishes, which gives a lot of variety to the vegan cuisine as well. And that's what I love about the Indian cuisine, that we have those options where we can facilitate, like every community, every age group, that, okay, whichever things you want, we can cook you in that your own customized way, like that.
Do the Taiwanese customers ever ask, why isn't there pork or more beef? The things that aren't traditionally part of Indian cooking.
Yeah, of course. As like many people, those who never tried those things or never been to India, or maybe they just heard on the news, then we express them. Okay, there is a certain part of Hindu people who doesn't eat cow because it's very sacred in our religion. Similarly to the Muslims, the pork, they don't eat pork. And then we give them knowledge about how do we deal things, how we have rituals, how we have religion thing. And of course, also the, many students which are coming in or going out on both sides, how do we deal with them here in Taiwan or in India? So many things, actually, we update the local people, also the expats, and of course, the Indian people living in Taiwan. We address them, the issue we face here, or the issue we get when, for example, like when we import things from India to Taiwan, it's always an issue that why these things become so expensive. But as just now I spoke to you, like if these things are going through so many of channel and in such a long process, of course the cost of those products becomes very high. Not only in the Indian cuisine, I think all kind of cuisine or the ingredients, when goes through such a long process, it becomes so expensive for anyone to afford. Yeah.
How do you staff up the restaurants? There are not a lot of locally trained Indian cooks. So who's doing all the cooking?
Of course, the Indian chefs. We are so blessed, and we always keep saying thank you to the Labor Department in Taiwan and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to allow us to bring a lot of Indian chefs to Taiwan, and those are also like they have a good background of 5-star hotel and well educated, and they know how to deal with the food. So this is when you are running a clean business in Taiwan, when doing companies and paying taxes, and there are no shortcuts, so the government also helps you. This is what I love about Taiwan, that if you are doing the good things here and following the rules and regulations, it will be easy for you to run your business, even though if you are a foreigner, and the government will be also take initiative to address your issues. And but as I said, things are slow, but of course it's moving. Yeah.
What about the local staff who work as at the front or waiters? What are the challenges in bringing Taiwanese people to work in an Indian restaurant?
It's quite challenging because first of all, they are a bit shy. That they have to deal with the chefs who are not Taiwanese. And second thing, of course, the language barriers. So we actually update them. We tell them, if you work with us, you're going to learn English for free. First of all,
with what kind of accent though?
Yeah, with an Indian accent. So with an Indian accent, and you're going to shake your head more than your lips. So yeah, that's true. But end of the day, you don't need to pay so much for going out and learn English. While you are working, you can learn English. And also, many people understand, and many people, they feel shy, so they don't want to continue. So I think we all know that human resources is a big issue here in Taiwan, and we need more manpower here in Taiwan where we can hire more staff. Luckily, we teach these things to our staff, and we give them good salaries. Also, we do a lot of things to attract them and keep going on to work with Mayur in kitchen. And that is how we are running so many restaurants. And that's the thing.
Who translates the names of the Indian dishes into Chinese? That's a bit challenging, especially if you're adding new dishes, right? Because the original name is in the regional Indian language. The original name's not in English.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you come up with the Chinese names of the different dishes?
I would rather say that we actually every day struggle or invent new names. We invent new names and the new dishes because we go through the basic, okay, this is called tofu, or this is called dal, this is called bread. Okay, what we call it in Hindi or any other language, and then how are we going to change into the Chinese, because those things people do not know. So what happens is cumin seed also has the same name into Chinese, and the carom seed or any other seed also has the same name into Chinese. So we always struggle and invent those names, and then we find out, okay, this is the name, that's the name. Or we also check on Google or with other people, with other companies, and finally we get, okay, this is the Chinese name, we can say it like for that product.
It sounds like a big challenge.
Yes, it's a big challenge, no doubt about that.
How is the growth of the food ordering apps changed the business? Because those apps didn't exist when you began the restaurants, and now they're so common. It's just so routine, and I've ordered from your restaurants using the apps. It's pretty easy. You even take special requests. I'm helping you sell some food here. People could even write in the apps that they want it less spicy or more spicy, things like that. But how has it changed what you do at the restaurant?
Honestly speaking, if for example, even if you come to our restaurant and said, Mayur, I eat this and I don't eat this, and maybe I want more cumin, or maybe I want more mint into my curry, so I will personally take care of it, and we're going to cook it and give it to you. But what happened is, like, since Corona came and things went more into online, it cut down a lot of profit, honestly speaking, because a lot of profit is now going to pay for these apps. It doesn't matter on both sides, even if we cook or the person who is ordering the food. So this is the one biggest change, that we lost that touch of meeting you whenever you want to order the food. We only can see your order on a pad or on a phone, but we cannot actually interact with you. The human touch of those 1 or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes while you are waiting for your food is gone. Second, the cost. Of course, now you are paying for getting your food on your table, and we are paying for the whatever are the charges there. The third most important thing is the food which I'm making with love is going into a box to you, which is going to change the taste of that particular food if it stays inside a box for a long time. For 100% sure, it wouldn't be same just like platter to plate. So as a chef, I feel that's a pity. But if you see on other side, it's now you can get your food on your table when it's rain season, or maybe you are sick. So of course it has both pros and cons on the both side. On the both side, one maybe it's also generating a lot of job, or getting young people get more money or earn more money, like that. So I think it's on the both side. Yeah.
If someone's ordering from the app, putting aside peak times and traffic, things like that, but as a rule, and you talked about the science of Indian cuisine, how quickly should they be eating the food to maximize the taste when they're ordering it via an app? What's the chef's rule?
Honestly speaking, as a chef, we believe that if someone orders the food, instead of waiting it too long, just when they just get the food, open it first of all and put it in the plates, whichever plates they want to. It's up to them, and do not keep it in those boxes. And especially because, as I said, it's just a simple science. Do not put the hot food in your in your fridge and then don't expect it to be the same taste or same flavors afterwards. Open it, let it come into a ball, eat it as soon as possible, or if you want to keep it, just let it come to the room temperature and then put it in your fridge. Otherwise, someone could get sick. Because it's all about food, it's all about the love, it's all about the passion. Also, someone is paying money, so I think they also hard earn that money to spend on that food, so they should give it a value. And also, if they gives a value and they like, for example, if you are ordering it and you like it, it would be our pleasure to understand that someone who maybe doesn't want to go to a restaurant, or maybe they have some there is a rain, or maybe have some any issue that they just cannot come here, so they get the food and we get the blessing. Just simple that.
Speaking of a blessing, you're a dad of 4 kids, which is an amazing blessing. What do you do with your kids in your free time in Taipei when you're not so busy running your restaurants?
We actually, most of the time when they are free, we go around. I love to drive, and I take them around to each different MIK, and we talk about the different things. And most of the time, like they are so small, so they love to play. But the one good thing I learned from them is that they also having the passion to that, how like the family, the whole, because not only me, my father, my brother, my brother's wife, my wife, everyone is very, and my even though like my cousins are now here and they are all involved. So I would say that this business is now like a family business, and we are so much involved that we always keep talking about the things we can do for ourselves, for the society, for the people who are spending money into us, and give the lessons to ourselves and everyone that how we can do things better for ourselves and for the community. Yeah, the kids, they heard this kind of thing, and then they also have idea, and they have like they want to become vegan, they want to go and try the cuisine, they want to cook, they want to try how it happens. So when kids see such things happening, they also develop the interest and the taste into the Indian and the Taiwan things. Yeah.
You mentioned some of your family have come to Taiwan to join you, and clearly the number of Indians living in Taiwan, not just visiting but actually living here, has increased a lot during the time that I've lived in Taiwan, during the time you lived in Taiwan. Why is that?
I think a lot of interaction happening between Taiwan and India since few years. And as you are here since long time, I didn't see many Indians before, but I think recently, I must mention one name, the Indian Taipei Association, also the Ministry of Education, Taiwan, who are exchanging a lot of students between these two countries, and a lot of students are going there, and the companies are going to India, and so many of Indian students are coming to Taiwan as well. And before, there was a big issue that they were not able to find local ingredients or the Indian restaurant, but now there are so many ingredients, there are so many things which they can which are easily available here in Taiwan. So I think that's why more and more people are coming. And then of course there are so many opportunities of scholarships and internships and things which are going on. That's why the more and more interactions happening and the more people are coming to Taiwan.
Before we go, because we're almost out of time, Mayur, tell us a preview, some kind of secret. What's upcoming at Mayur Indian Kitchen? Okay,
we have in pipeline, we just opened one vegetarian vegan restaurant, which is South Indian. The second thing, we are going to expand Mayur Indian Kitchen, not only in Taichung, Taipei and Hsinchu, but also the small cities where we want to share the love of fresh and healthy food. Of course, right now I am giving a lot of push to the vegetarian and vegan thing, that after COVID, people are changing a lot, and they're thinking twice what they are eating, which was not happened before. And also about which I just mentioned about the import of ingredients, the fresh ingredients here in Taiwan, even though if I have to struggle for it or go for it, but I think I should do it and share these things with everyone out here in Taiwan, those looking for such products, for such healthy life. And I think it's our pleasure to be here.
Well, you got me hungry, so I'll probably order from Mayur tonight. Mayur, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
You've been listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station. Have a great weekend.